I might get a lot of hate for this, but that's just reality. My biggest tip for you guys, my biggest takeaway was, hello and welcome back to Living Abroad. My name is Alex, and in today's video, I'm going to tell you exactly what I learned after living in the Philippines for 6 months almost, right? So this is my second week here in Canada, and I'll be honest, I'm very excited to be back. I'm happy to see family. And in today's video, I'm going to see if I can show you guys some specifically Canadian things, or at least things that are different from the Philippines a little bit. Well, I'll tell you guys my thoughts. So hopefully we can see some Canadian geese, maybe some squirrels. And I hope the wind is not too strong so you can hear me properly. Now, I've made one of these videos before, maybe 2 of them, talking about my first month, maybe 3 months. But now let's see what I've learned, and I'm going to tell you guys my honest truth about living in the Philippines and what it feels like to be back, and whether you should be visiting or living in the Philippines. So stick on till the end. I'd love to know your thoughts. Now, I'm here at Earl Bale Park at Shepherd and Bathurst in North York, Toronto. So guys, what I've learned about living in the Philippines. So the first thing is that I've learned that as a person, as a human being, myself, at 35-year-old able body, I don't need as much as I thought I needed in life. Now that's material things such as a car, a big house, maybe the iPhone, whatever, right? So for example, I dropped my phone in the ocean. I bought myself a cheap $100 one, and it worked just as good, if not better, because I had more space, for example, right? So having things such as a car, I didn't need a car in the Philippines because I was earning Canadian or US dollars and spending in Filipino pesos. The conversion rate, it was super cheap, convenient, and affordable to rent a taxi, a Grab, or some other sort of ride-sharing application. So it was really convenient. So I realized, you don't really need that unless you're taking long trips to work or something like that, commuting every day back and forth. That's another thing I learned. Now let's move on to some other things. Of course, how can we forget all the beautiful beaches in the Philippines, right? People travel all the way from North America to go to the Philippines for the beaches, for the scenery, for the oceans, for the clear blue turquoise water, right? So I was very lucky to see some of the most beautiful places in my entire life in the Philippines. So places like Moalboal, Malapascua, Bantayan, Oslo. I went to Bohol, Dumaguete, all these places that, I could only imagine in my dreams, and that all came true in the Philippines. Now let's talk about other reasons why people go to the Philippines. Not myself specifically, but if I were to look for a woman, for example, if I were looking for a relationship, the Philippines is an amazing place to find someone to fall in love with, to marry, to be in a long-lasting and loyal relationship. There's a lot of misconception about women wanting money, a lot of misconception about people looking to get, money for their families, or like, scams, all these things. But guys, that's what happens in every country. It's not just the Philippines. I'm going to be honest, like even women in Canada, they may not outright say it, but everybody wants stability. Everybody wants a guy that can financially support himself and maybe their families. But of course, in the Philippines, given like there's a lot more poverty and maybe not everybody has the same opportunity as we do in the West, it's not really a surprise for somebody who want to try to get out of that, state of poverty or that place they're living in, or try to improve their life. So if you're a 75-year-old man going to the Philippines and trying to hook up or be in a relationship with a 30-year-old, 25-year-old, can you really expect any less? Yeah, you should be giving that person money, because no way in hell is some 25-year-old gonna fall in love with you. Let's be realistic. That's not the case. I might get a lot of hate for this, but that's just reality. I'm not trying to bash anybody's relationship. Of course, there might be 1 or 2 people that genuinely fall in love at that age gap, but reality says, initially at least, they want you for financial security. They build love afterwards, of course, that's a different story. Next, let's talk about the people, the wonderful Filipino people, the proud people in the Philippines that are some of the nicest people I've ever come across in my life. I'm embarrassed to say I lost my wallet twice, and both times I returned it with nothing missing, everything intact, no money was taken. Filipinos are very friendly, they're kind, and of course there's going to be some other people that try and take advantage of you, but if you're street smart or using common sense, that's not going to be an issue. The Filipino people is a big reason why people love traveling to the Philippines. So what else did I learn after 6 months in the Philippines? I learned about Filipino time. So many of you guys are gonna have, I'm sure, different answers in the comment section or feel differently. It's Filipino time, guys. So in the Philippines, many Filipinos are going to be late, no matter what the subject, the idea, no matter what the reason or the occasion, the meeting, the appointment, if it's a date, if it's a coffee meetup, if it's a business thing, I don't know. But from my experience, from my personal experience, many people showed up late. Maybe they don't know me yet, maybe it's the first time meeting. Regardless, it's island time. People just don't care as much as they do in the West. I think it's more of a laid back mentality. Not everybody's running on a schedule. When we talk about traffic and everything else, I think it's a good reason or excuse for some people not to show up on time. So whenever you're meeting somebody, maybe just double check the time, let them know you're going to be there exactly at that time. And the most annoying thing, some people don't even let you know they're going to be late. It's one thing to be late, but it's another thing to be late and not say it and think it's okay completely. Just from a personal experience, that was something I learned. It's Filipino time. Now you can kind of take that in a positive way, that not everybody's so serious or uptight about schedule, but as long as both parties are on the same page, I think it's fine. Check out this squirrel, guys. This is a black one. They're usually brown or black. They're different kinds, I guess, of colors. Kind of cool, right? The next thing is cost of living. So this is an obvious subject or an obvious reason, but it doesn't get talked about as much as I thought, to be honest. Cost of living is a big reason why Philippines is very attractive for Westerners or other foreigners that have a really high advantage when it comes to the Filipino peso. Last I checked, one USD was 57 pesos, right? So you can buy a Jollibee meal for about 80 pesos. When you're thinking about fast food restaurant, a meal for less than $2, you can't go wrong with that, right? So cost of living, another factor, another major reason why the Philippines is a great place to visit, to retire, to check out for a few months. I'm a big fan of the Philippines because things are much cheaper and much more affordable in the Philippines. Before I talk more about the Philippines and what I've learned, one thing I have to say in Canada that I really noticed when I first got here, right off the plane, something I forgot is the fresh air. Guys, I'm out here just like breathing. There's very little pollution here, right? There's a lot of laws in place, making sure all the factories and the cars and all this, like, anyways, regardless, there's a lot of greenery, of course, a lot of trees. Canada is full of wonderful nature. That's something I think I took for granted when I was here, the fresh air, the clean air. So I love that about Canada. Now let's get back to some things I've learned about living in the Philippines for 6 months. A few other things to remember: that the Philippines is still a developing country. It's not going to be like where you're coming from, probably, whether it's the Netherlands, Canada, the US, the UK, Australia, wherever. So you have to be patient, guys. This is not going to happen the same way as it happens in your own country. Things are going to not run exactly the same. It might be a little bit slower. You may have to wait a little bit longer. You may have to go through a few different processes and procedures. They might do things differently than what you're used to. It doesn't mean it's wrong. That's just the way the Filipino people do it. They've been doing it for decades, if not longer, hundreds of years. So guys, you're not going to come here and change the way they do things. So get that out of your mind, because that's just going to cause you more stress and more anxiety, and you're going to just be in a miserable place. So just keep that in mind. They may be out of some things that you're used to, maybe out of stock, or just do things a little bit differently. Maybe some of the roads are not as paved or as wide, or maybe some trips take a little bit longer. But you're not in the Philippines to have the exact same lifestyle as you did back home. So if you're coming here, I'm not here anymore. So if you're going to the Philippines with that mindset, I highly recommend you change it, because you're going to set yourself up for disappointment. You don't want to be disappointed like that anywhere you're traveling to, especially if you're going to a place to enjoy the country, the culture, immerse yourself in the culture, interact with the local people. You know, many of my videos, I try to talk to everybody that I come across, whether they are locals or foreigners, because it's not for the video, it's for myself. I want to see how their day is. I want to see what makes them happy. I want to see what they're up to that day, you know. So for me, interacting with the locals, especially the Filipinos, was a really fun thing for me to do. I really got to know the culture, the people. I got invited to people's homes. People offered me things without wanting anything from me, giving me directions, helping me out, like including me into the community that I just walked through. Basically, like that basketball video I did was one of my favorites, because I really got to see what family meant for some Filipinos. They invited me to a birthday party, they offered me a drink, and then even the barangay police captain told me if I ever needed any help, right, if I ever was in trouble, I could always contact him. He didn't even know me, right? But that's the hospitality of the Filipino people. So that's it, guys. And lastly, I'm going to talk about your own mindset. So if you're going to the Philippines, if you're not happy in your own mind, you're not going to be happy in the Philippines. No matter where you go in the world, if you're not happy in your heart, in your mind, and as a person, you're not going to be happy anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's the Philippines, Thailand, anywhere you go in the world. If you're miserable, you're going to be miserable in these countries. So my biggest tip for you guys, my biggest takeaway was exactly this: to be open-minded, to be able to adapt, and to be able to accept things that are not going well. Maybe that was the thing for me, right? I learned that you need to be open to these things. You need to be open and open your mind. Come here with an open mindset. Don't expect everything to be exactly perfect, but that's going to build character. That's going to make you stronger. That's going to make you prepared for some things that may not go well. But guess what? Next time the bus breaks down, you won't be worried or something like that, you know? So get all that negativity out of your mind. Interact with the people. Say hello to them. Live your life, guys. Life is short. One day you're going to wake up you may not have that much time or that much energy or that much money. You don't know what's going to happen. So that's what I've learned, to take every day as a gift, to be honest. I'm rambling at this point, but that's all I got. So leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of this video, about my takeaways. And that's what I learned after 6 months in the Philippines. Guys, leave your comments down below. I would love to know what your thoughts are. Anything about what I said. If you disagree, agree, or just want to share your experiences. This is just something I thought of at the top of my head. Of course, it wasn't scripted. And you know, it's exactly and truly how I feel. And I hope that it was a little bit informative or entertaining for you guys. With that being said, if you've yet to subscribe to the channel, do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It won't take you a second. I mean, you're sitting there anyways. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. It helps me grow this channel and continue making videos like this. And I'll see you guys in the next one with some more interviews, or who knows what I'm up to. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Now let's see if I can find some Canadian geese for you guys. Okay, here we go. So these suckers, they seem peaceful and quiet, but if you agitate them, they'll chase you down to a ravine. They're vicious, to be honest, and they'll try to bite you. My dog Milo used to love to chase these geese, but sometimes he'd jump into the river right after them, try to catch them. And here are some different squirrels, and there's a few of them here. There's no place you can go in Toronto and all around Canada where you won't see some squirrels. Now, they can be very friendly, but they're a little bit shy. I fed them an M&M with a peanut in it once. I remember it had really rough fingers, and it really surprised me.
One downside of having all these geese here, or anywhere, in any park, is all the geese dropping. So if you're not careful, you know, you're going to be stepping on doo-doo, and it's like everywhere. So every step you take, you have to be careful. It's like a landmine, but, you know, you can't have it all.